Alright boys, today we're going to be ranking the best DPS in Honkai Star Rail since the game has been out for a while now and people care most about DPS ranking, so let's just get on with it. The first one is going to be Seele, just because I want to get this out the way. Hey, this is too obvious, right? She's far and away the best one. I think I'm probably going to give her S tier by herself. I don't think it'd be disrespectful to put anyone in there. Because if you look at the Memory of Chaos clears, which by the way, all provided by Grim, he's an absolute freak. So, this is obviously not a big sample size, it's a very, very tiny sample size, but I think it still means something. Seele has been used the most in floors 1 to 5, and if we look at the specifics, she is literally the top in every single floor, and she is pretty much used, she's used in every single run, right? She's used in literally every single run that people have provided. Now, obviously, the further we go, the less people have cleared it, and this is again super tiny sample size. This practically doesn't mean anything, but I figure it still sort of shows, right? Like she performs all of these, right? Why build a DPS that let's say in this one, right? They're not weak to quantum, right? Why be like Yanqing for one of these who's ice DPS if Seele's just gonna outdo him, right? Has there been a single Yanqing used on this? Submitted? No. Again, why build Yanqing if you can just use Seele and she'll probably do the same thing he's doing, even though she doesn't have the weakness on them, right? She is absolutely crazy. If we go to DPS rankings too, this is calculated by far the absolute minimum. This does not include the resurgent procs as they're outside the rules, and every boss, every stage has multiple enemies, so you can always get them. So her DPS is so much higher, especially if you know how to chain her attacks together to the 6 attack combo with her. Which if you look it up once, it's pretty easy to do. It's just a lot of people don't know about it seemingly. But her damage is so much higher than this, right? When we compare it to Heng, for example, who I'm going to talk next. This is a perfect rotation where you time his talent on each of his ultimates, which is ultimate, if you didn't know, if I click this, yes. If we go to his skills, it does 80% more damage, I believe. If they are... Yeah, there you go. It deals a lot more damage if they are slowed, which is why I personally run with Veld, for example, but yeah. Seele, by far and away, in her own tier. No one comes close. There is one person that comes close, and I'll have to sort of explain that one. Actually, he comes close. I think he beats her, in my opinion, but well, he's not out yet, so we don't. I don't want to rate him yet. Anyway, next up we have Heng. Let's talk about Heng, right? I think Heng is excellent. Not only does he have good damage if you play him well and you have him set up well. Another thing he has that is really good is this. His skill is really nice. When he crits, which he will be doing, especially if you have some of his items unlocked, he has a 100% base chance to reduce the target speed by 12% for 2 turns. Not just 1 turn, 2 turns. That's huge. Because one, that means he's self-sufficient. He can, by himself, apply his ult's bonus damage. And because you typically build him with speed as you want with most DPS, if not every DPS, he'll be going multiple times. And at that point, you can do the... basic attack skill, ultimate rotation. If you always get this slow and you have other people that can support his speed, right? You have an Asta on your team or something, or you have the light cone that advances everyone's movement forward and everything when you ult and everything. You have Bronya, you can make this guy move so many times because he slows. He's very fast himself, and then he has this. His talents also too. When he's targeted by an ally, his next attack has higher wind res. And the thing is, the way buffs work in Honkai Star Rail or in any game in that sense is you don't want to stack the same type of buff. Let's say you have a 200% attack increase on Heng right now. If you get a 20% attack boost, that goes from 200 to 220, that's not a 20% damage boost, that's a 10% damage boost, right? In that sense, right? If we super dumb it down. And if you were to get a 20% res damage boost, then that's a huge damage boost because that amplifies the whole 200% attack by the another 20% wind res pen that you have. And then you have a 40% damage increase on somewhere else. That's also much bigger than if you just had another 40% attack stacked on top of the already built-in 200% attack he has in let's say he hypothetically has that. So having damage sources from different types of buffs and not just attack buffs and not just damage buffs is super huge. And wind res pen affects everyone. And even if they have 0, it will just be an 18% or a 40% damage increase. It's crazy good. Really good ability to have. The thing is, it is sort of difficult to like always time this correctly and then always have the slow up, then always have this ultimate up. All right, you need like certain units to support him to like have that be a lot more easy, but it's still really, really strong, right? And that's why, like, it's really strong. Like, his whole kit is really strong. I feel like they could have genuinely, like, just increased the stats slightly, right? Maybe, like, added some multipliers, like, some more multipliers, like, made this, like, 24%, and then, like, 48, and then, like, 52 or something. And then, he could have, like, they could have put a 5-star tag on him. And I think that would have been fine. But, yeah, Heng's super, super good, in my opinion. And I think he'll also just get better, like, the further we go, because his Eidolons are all, like, really strong. I feel like they're all like really strong. I feel like this one's really good. This one's okay. This one is again, it'll be even more difficult to play around it. But if you can, then it's really strong. But you need some sort of like skill point generator at this point. And then this one's really strong too because it makes him like a discount Seele. And then this too. This is really good too. He'll move so many times. That it's crazy. Like he's super, super quick. He's legit just a 4-star Seele, which is good enough to put him in A tier, I think, me personally. Now let's talk about Trailblazer physical. Now he is not good. So his single target and his skill are practically the same skill. One is AoE, one is single target. They have almost the same multipliers. Let me put Clara in S tier. I'm going to explain why in a second. Seele is by far and away still better than Clara, but I do want to put Clara in S tier. Let me let's look at the Trailblazer physical, right? He's meant to be AoE, so let's look at 3 targets. He's gonna be up there, right? He's not gonna be super low, right? Especially let's go to E6 since he's free E6. Okay, well then if we compare him to other people, he doesn't really go up 329 to what? Now again, you can't like take these. I guess he doesn't even change. Well, it's more like utility and stuff. I forget. I remember his Eidolons are not that good. But his skills, okay, that's the thing that matters the most. Deals physical damage equal to 50, 100, 110 of the Trailblazer's attack to a single enemy. That's his basic. His AoE is practically the same thing. It's slightly increased, okay? And the thing is, if we look at characters, again, and we look at Clara, she has the same thing. She has the same thing, right? Slightly higher multiplier on the AoE, I'm pretty sure, but, right, it's almost the same thing. But she does practically double the damage when they are marked by Serval, which they always are. Like they practically always are because she has so many ways to make them hit her, and she has the AoE counters, everything. They'll be marked, right? When you use this skill, especially, they will be marked. You know, you're most of the time not going to just randomly like check out the skill. You're going to wait until they're all marked, and they usually all are marked. It's so easy to get them on. This is not like this is something that's like, oh, it's conditioned. No, this is like up 90% of the time, right? They're either dead or marked. That's usually how it is. With her, except the first turn. But the first turn, she just generates a skill point. She's super, super good. But let's talk about more about him. This, and then his ultimate is not bad. His ultimate is okay for 1 attack, and it is 120 energy though. If this was like 90 energy, like super low energy cost, I think I would like legit put him in like, well, just like 1 tier higher probably. But his ultimate's good. His ultimate, he will do good damage on the, oh, that's the wrong one. Well, she will do really good damage on that one. But it's not bad. It's solid. It's just a damage increase for one of his skills, pretty much. But that's it. And that's pretty it. He's very, very basic, unfortunately. His stuff is like not what you want on a DPS, and it's sort of not what you want on a sub. You can run him sub DPS. He will work. Obviously, like this game is a PvE game. If you build someone strong enough, there's not like any content that you can't beat him with. So if you build him strong enough, he can be a solid sub DPS. Right, that you just like you basic AoE with, which is fine, and you ult AoE and stuff, and like he will get the job done. Again, he's not like useless, but he is just very, very lacking in comparison to other people, which is unfortunate because I like using the main character. Now, yeah, the fire one's broken. Obviously, he's not going to be on this list. He's a tank. He's not meant to be a DPS, but it would be nicer if they actually had like a competition going on, right? Like you actually had to think and make a decision which one do you want to use between those two. Regardless, it is what it is. Now, Himeko is next. Himeko is hard to judge too. I kind of want to put her in A tier, but like I'll probably put her in B. The thing is with Himeko too, her damage isn't too crazy, and she's not like good as a main DPS. If you rely on her as a main DPS, she's not good. She's like better if you have like a breaker with her, someone that can like break. Obviously, has a really good break effect. That can also break everyone's toughness bar really, really easily because she has her little robot, right? When an enemy is afflicted with weakness break, Himeko gains 1 point charge, blah blah blah. And when an ally performs an attack, Himeko immediately performs 1 follow-up attack and deals fire damage. But this is really good, really, really good. This is really, really good. Her ultimate is AoE, and again, for farming, if you're doing like waves type content, this is really good because you'll get your energy back, right? You'll get like 15 energy back. And you also get energy for killing people in general, so this is like, she actually is like sort of self-sufficient. And erudition people are also like super like ultimate dependent, so it does matter. And then burn is really strong and like fire damage and everything, but it's just not like her talent's really good too. Her technique, sorry, is really, really good too. It's just that she doesn't do much. Like this is not a 5-star skill. This is a 4-star skill at best. But burn is really strong, one of the strongest traits, and her traces are solid for that. Obviously, it's all burn related. I've never looked at her eidolons. I don't want to like take 5-star eidolons into account though, else I'll put Clara on like probably above Seele. I'm not even kidding. But like she really is not good against any of the like top tier endgame content. Like she's not catered towards that. She really is just catered towards like farming quickly and being efficient at. And that's why she's good. I mean, I would love to have her. She's the only 5-star missing right now. I'd love to have her. I'd build her genuinely just because it make farming like relics and everything so much easier and quicker, and like monster materials and everything is super, super good for that. But that's not something that you want to like, you know, that's not something that's going to put a character above someone else in a tier list. So I'll put her in like B. I'll probably put her in C for now, and then we'll talk like a little bit later about it. Because like 4 or 5 stars not good. If she was a 4-star, I might put her in B, because then obviously you can get her eidolons. She's a little cheaper to invest in, and she's not as like as premium and like, as like limited. So I feel like that would like hinders her too. So that's the issue. And again, she's not bad. No one is bad. As a main DPS though, it doesn't really work. And as a sub DPS, she gets a drop on the follow-up attacks is super good, especially if you do simulated universe. And you have her as a sub DPS. You go like Clara, Himeko. You go full on follow-up attacks. You demolish it so quick. Like probably the quickest one you can do is with Clara, Himeko. Follow-up attacks. It's so strong. It's so strong. Regardless, next we have Arlan. Arlan's a very, very unique character because let's look at him. Let's look at him in 2 ways. So let's look at him here first and his kit, because there's a lot of stuff that we have to talk about. I'm pretty sure and most people don't even know what he does yet. So his skill, he consumes HP. That's his whole thing. He consumes HP, and he does not use skill points. He does not use skill points. He uses his HP, and he's lightning damage. He's lightning single target damage. Now his ultimate does like AoE damage. His ultimate is not like too strong either. It's 110 too. I feel like this should be a 100 energy one. But he is really, really strong. And then when he's low HP, he does so much more damage. He does so much more damage, and obviously he will get there a lot of time. It's just hard to sustain him at a low HP threshold because one, he heals. I don't know where it says this. I know he heals when he's low HP. Yeah, here, this one. Yeah, when he's low and he kills an enemy, he restores HP, so he'll lose that damage buff. But the thing is, this sort of works because once you're low, you just want to use that one skill to kill an enemy. And then when you heal back up, that's really good, because then on their turn, you can take the attack, you're low HP again, you kill someone, you heal up. And that cycle, it does work, but you're not consistently low, so if you like go multiple turns, it doesn't really work. But he's really, like, I really, really like his design. I really, really like his design. Him like not costing any skill points and just using his own health, which you can like supplement super easily, and then doing more damage is super, super nice to have. Super, super good as like a sub DPS. His eidolons are not crazy. He has this one when struck by killing blow. This is like the only one that's like sort of good, but it's not even that crazy. I feel like it's not like, I guess crazy is like Violus or like Gepard's one. Like they're like passive. Overall, I don't know. I know he's not that good. I'm trying to cope here. If we go on DPS rankings too, he's obviously not going to be too high. Now this is at full HP. Yeah, this is at full HP, right? Then at full HP, if you play him at lower HP, you'll have much higher. Especially if you're below like 20% HP, you'll have insane numbers for this guy. He will like be up here. I promise he will be up here. but we can't like sort after this, right? And for AoE, obviously, it's just his ultimate does his AoE damage, so he's not gonna be doing much. But he is really strong. And then I don't think I even have to check here. I don't think anyone's used them. Yeah, no one's used them, right? If I go all the way up to total users, yeah, 0 users, which is unfortunate. These 4 are the only ones that haven't been used, which is actually really tragic. But it happens, you know. New game, people tend to play the same comps. People don't want to experiment around, especially early game, because you don't want to waste your resources into something that doesn't end up working. But yeah, Yanqing, oh, I love Yanqing. I want to put him into S tier so bad, but he's not. He's just like a better than Heng, sorta, at times. Obviously, him being ice typing already makes him infinitely better than a lot of other characters, because if you're ice, you can freeze, and freeze is broken. And he has a 65% chance of freeze, which is super, super strong. So if we go check him, obviously last character, why? If you look at his skills, he has Steel Sync, okay? So when he uses his skill, he activates, his Soul Steel Sync for 1 turn. Now what is Soul Steel Sync is less likely to be attacked by enemies. Good, because you don't want this, trust. Yanqing's crit rate increased by 15%, his crit damage increased by 15%. After Yanqing attacks an enemy, there's a 50% fixed chance of perform a follow-up attack, like a little like Ice Blossom, that like strikes from the sky, and does more damage. And it has a 65% chance to freeze the enemy for 1 turn. This is really, really good. This is really, really good. But when he takes damage, it disappears. Which is why he has the Yanqing less likely to be attacked an enemy, and he has a trace too. Oh no, this is the... This one's solid, by the way. This one's really strong. This additional ice damage equal to 30% of Yanqing's attack to targets with ice weakness is really good. Really, really good. But, you know, I feel like he needs one more thing. He needs like something else. You need to run him with like a Gepard and a Clara, or the Trailblazer Fire, so they get hit. And then you also need someone that can like shield him, like March 7th or Gepard again, or the main character, so he doesn't get AoE'd down, because as soon as he's hit, he's so bad. And you do need to make sure you can skill with him every turn. If you don't skill with him for 1 turn, he falls off a cliff too. It's practically the same thing as getting hit. His ultimate's super strong though, because you don't need to build a lot of crit on him. If you just build a lot of crit damage, right, you focus on getting him to like 250% crit damage, right, insane number. He will pretty much always crit on his ultimate, and he gets extra crit damage. Now, they in the simulation don't run the 4-piece Hunter of Glacial Forest piece. I was in the Discord asking why, and I saw people like show me the calcs and everything. 25% crit damage for 2 turns is not that crazy, but I do feel like if you really only invest into crit damage, this might be still better. Like only for his ultimate, so you can like just play him as like an ultimate nuke. But yeah, that's pretty much it. He has really, really good damage. Really, really good damage, right? Because he gets so much crit. You can build so much attack on him, which other characters can't do. You can like focus on attack and speed, and you get all the crit chance. You get the crit damage from his kit. But you need to skill every turn with him. If he gets hit once, he's useless for the next 2 turns. So that's his issue. If it wasn't for that, like the thing, he also has freeze. So like he practically is S tier. It's just I can't give him S tier because we don't have the roster yet to support his I can't be hit ability. So I don't want to put him there yet. Now Herda is so bad. I had Copium for her, like being good, because I was like, yo, like follow-up attack strat. Like I like the idea of her. She's really cool. I'm not gonna talk too much about her. Pretty much, if you attack someone that's low, she does a follow-up attack. That's pretty much all she does, and that's not good enough. Her stats are not good enough. Her damage isn't good enough. Nothing she does is good enough, unfortunately. So I don't want to like take her into account. Now, one character I can't rate because I legit don't know anything about her is her. Xingque. I asked my friend who like sort of speaks Chinese. I forgot how he said you're supposed to pronounce her. But if we look at the DPS rankings, she doesn't. She's not even on here. Hello. Okay, wait. She's not even on here. Okay, so she hasn't been calculated yet. But as far as I'm concerned, she's not great. When I looked at her kit, I was like, okay, this is like super. She's an RNG character. She's not gonna be consistent, right? But the one thing she has over everyone here is that she's a quantum DPS. And Seele is the only other one. So if you don't have Seele, this is your only other choice in this game. But I don't want to factor that in too much, because if so, I'd have to put Veld as the best character in the game, because he's the only imaginary character in the game right now. So, and for the foreseeable future too, by the way, unless we like even like the leaks we have, I'm not going to talk about too much now, but like seemingly he's the only imaginary character for a while. So I mean, that's something, right? But yeah, I don't want to count that, so I'm gonna put her in the D tier too. RNG dependent. It doesn't have the numbers from what I've seen. Again, this is one that I'm iffy about. Like, if you want to disagree with this, like, I will trust you. If you tell me like, oh, she's like as good as Arlan, I probably think that's cap, but I won't fight you on it, because again, this is the one character I don't know much about, so I don't want to talk too much. Hook, unfortunately, bro, this hurts me. I have to put Hook above Himeko. They practically do the same thing, because Hook is also good at dealing like AoE damage, but in like 99% of scenarios, Hook will just like outdo Himeko by so much. Hook has really strong burn and break abilities. If we look at Hook here, too, Hook does get used a lot. Actually, I don't want to close this yet. Let's go on this. Let's go on Hook. And on the DPS rankings too. I mean, Hook for a single target is up here. Burn is just really, really strong, and she's really good at applying burn. Now, they calculate her best damage to be with these two, but I think that's just like on theory. I think in practicality this will be more, especially like the way you use her too, because her ultimate, she gets it back pretty easily when she attacks an enemy that has burn. She does more damage and she regenerates extra energy. Her ultimate is 120 though, which is like average cost, but it's like on the higher side of average cost. I don't know. But let's talk about her kit real quick. So her kit, her skill, this is her basic skill. She has the enhanced version 2 after she ults, which by the way, her ult's just a bit of damage. Her ultimate is not that strong. I can't lie, she's not the strongest. But after she ults, the next skill is enhanced, which that's like AoE damage. So her basic skill is just, she does damage, like pretty good damage, right? The multiplier isn't too crazy, of fixed attack. Then she has a 100% base chance to inflict burns, and when inflicted with burn, enemies will take fire dot. Sorry, let's just explain the burn. I was gonna go on the enhanced version. Also, her Eidolons are crazy. Like, the thing is, like, most people that summon Seele have her E6 or have like at least like E4, and it's really strong. Like, burn is such a strong effect, and then just having so much just having so much burn in your kit is so crazy, and especially if you have E6, you do so much damage. I'm like stupid for not building mine properly anymore. I used to, I did until I hit level 40, then I stopped using her, which I don't know why. I need to go get her up to 60. But yeah, anyway, she's super crazy, because now let's look at her enhanced skill. So enhanced skill, one, damage goes up by a lot. And then, no, you see there's a whole new like paragraph they're getting added. So she still has the burn stuff, right? Now the fire dot is a lot stronger this time. Now the fire dot's the same thing, but she has the AoE damage on this now, which is like pretty much like a strong, like a basic attack on everyone else. And because every time she does damage, she does like the extra burn stuff and everything. It's so strong. It is such a strong. It's such a strong ability. The enhanced damage she gets from burn. Again, burn. I explained. Burn is super strong. She gets burned super easily. I'm gonna like keep this simple now. She gets she gets burned super easy. Her skill does more damage. She, every time if someone has burned, she just goes crazy. And for 4 stars, I do want to talk about Eidolons, because you are most likely gonna have them E6 at some point. It's not hard to get them to E6, even if you're free to play. Just over the course of like your regular summons. Really strong character. Just such a strong character. But the thing is, I feel like if we get another fire DPS, she'll lose out on like a lot. I feel like we just don't have like another like fire DPS. Like fire in general is just like a really strong typing. So as soon as we get another fire DPS, she's gonna drop off. I think like instead of 11 users, she's gonna be at like 3 users, like Himeko. If we compare it to that. Again, the sample size on this is like very tiny, so I wouldn't like take this as like law, but it does tell you something. Now, Sampo, I don't want to rank. Sampo is not a main DPS. He's a sub DPS. You can sort of make him work as a main DPS, but I'll put him into like C. I'll put him into B tier. That's unfair. He's better than Himeko. He does a lot of dot stuff with like wind shear effects. Again, I'm not going to talk about him too crazy. If we look at his damage, I don't think he is on the DPS rankings. Oh, he is. Again, single target super low. AoE, he is a lot better though, because his stuff is AoE, right? So AoE, he actually like outdoes done Heng, for example. Yeah, but he's mostly AoE, and his single target is not too bad, but his whole stuff is about dots, and you're not going to build a comp around him, right? He's an agility type character, usually just debuff stuff, which is what he does. But you don't want to like build him as your main DPS. He is good though. He is really good though. I'm not a fan of him, but he is really good. I don't want to talk about him too much. He has a lot of wind shear stuff. He's like Hook but wind, pretty much, but without that crazy insane like damage stuff. But wind shear is really good. My favorite way to go in the simulated universe is to just go in the ability and just spam debuffs on them, which if I used him over my Heng, it'd be so much more effective, but I'm lazy to get him up. He is really strong though. Like if you have him and you have him built, like that's really good. He's really good. He's really good at just doing wind shear stuff. He's really good about like dots and everything. I just wouldn't count him as a main DPS. So yeah. The thing, yeah, if you run him too, you'd have to run him with like Serval or Hook, just so you have like shock or like fire damage increase too. And then like locks him into like a weird position too. Once we get more, he's gonna be so much better in like a half a year from now than he is now. Right now, he doesn't have like I think he doesn't have like a perfect team. He is so strong. Like I don't know. I sounds like I'm downplaying him. He is really strong. I just like don't feel like he doesn't fit into like any comp right now that you can play. Because like the comps right now are just like quantum, like Seele like stuff, or like free stuff with like Yanqing, and then you have like some like discount Seele stuff with like Heng, right? So it's not like really a comp. You can definitely make a comp for him. Like Serval, you can run Serval. You can run him and Serval and then just have like a lot of AoE beatdown. You don't have a lot of single target in this team though, so like that's kind of rough. Again, in the future, I'm sure he will scale. He will like, if I come back to this like a half a year, I'll probably put him like here. But right now, I want to put him here. I have to put Hook here though. I kind of have to. Hook is just that strong. It's just like Hook is so easily replaceable. It's just because Burn is strong and she interacts so much with Burn. I'll put him B tier still. I'll put Arlan down too. I feel like that's more fair. Like in comparison to these two, he's not as good. Like he's better than Himeko, I'd say. Like he has more use cases than Himeko, and he has his own niche that no one else can do. But I just, again, like these two are just like far better than these. And I don't think like Heng is much better than these two, but he is like, I feel like just still a good chunk better than these two. Like good enough, like enough better that I can put him into A tier while feeling too bad. Sushang. Next up, physical. The only physical like single target DPS we sort of have, because like Clara is hard to count as like anything. She is like single target in AoE. She's a depends on how many times the enemy attacks DPS. And obviously, if there's more enemies, she'll do more. Now Sushang is crazy. If you go to single target damage, Sushang is right here. Okay, she sort of outdoes Clara. Super strong break effect. Super strong like damages. Dude, she I used her twice. She uses like, which obviously I've seen enough. My friend like uses her. Her skills are really good, but and like she's really fun to play too. She has like the whole like dancing blade swords and stuff. Again, I don't want to go too much into it because this video is way too long already. Sushang is such a strong physical DPS. Like she has so much stuff that works in her kit. You do need to skill every single turn too though. And she's like sort of like, no, she's not like Seele, but like I think that they do want to. I forgot. She's the Hunt character. Yeah, the Hunt stuff, like they always like want to break stuff, and then they have so much extra stuff. You need to skill for every single time, and you do want to have speed increase on her. She has her own speed increase, but you want just like have so much more like physical like increase, speed increase, so you can go multiple times, and then you need so many skill points to make her work. It's like Bronya is her best friend, because you can maybe make her move again, but then like you need like 4 skill points on your first turn, and then your other characters are super like they can't use skill points, which is technically what you want to do. But there's gonna be a lot of times that we have like awkward turn where you have to like basic with your Bronya, and then it feels bad. If you have E1 Tingyun though, and you have Bronya, I would just run E1 Tingyun with her instead of Bronya, because E1 Tingyun, you put your E on her, and then you get the speed increase, and then she can move multiple times. You can proc the skill multiple times. You get sword stance. You get a lot more damage. You get so much damage in general. She's such a like. I feel like this is like. Is there anything? There's not anything else here. But there's no way this is the maximum they calculated. She definitely is like up here more so. I mean, this is not a crazy like increase in numbers. For 3 targets, if they take her talent technique into account, she should be like. Okay, she's not. She should be super high because her talent technique is the she has 80% of her attack to all enemies physical damage. So if they're all weak to physical, you break all of them, which is super strong, because then you immediately trigger this, and then you just do a lot more damage. Like they'll be low. You get to move more. is super strong. Like if they took this into account for the AoE stuff, she'd be a bit higher. Obviously, this is just one move. You only do once, but like that's fine, I think, for like most content. I feel like this matters. Like, this is not something you can just like look at and be like, ah, whatever. This matters. But yeah, I think that's every DPS. Did I forget someone? Serval is really good, I guess. I mean, Serval is the same build as Sampo. They're like pretty much the same unit. They're both AoE dot stuff. Serval's more like ultimate base. He's more like he wants to use his skill more because he doesn't have anyone that can like really work with his ultimate. But that's it. The rest I wouldn't count as DPS. I mean him, but he's not out, so I don't want to talk about him. But that's it. Sorry I cut Serval short. She's an excellent sub DPS you can throw on any team. You want to do basic skill with her, basic skill. So she generates her own skill points. And her basics is super strong. She has a whole thing with like if they all have shock, they all take damage from her basics. Her skill is really strong because it applies shock, AoE and everything. Her ultimate is really strong, it does really good damage. Erudition characters in general, like I said, really good damage. If you go on like, yeah, uses, like she has a lot of uses here too. And then if you go on DPS rankings and we go on AoE, because single target she won't be doing much. Yeah, single target she won't be doing much. If you go on 3 targets though, she's up here. She's really strong AoE. That's pretty much it. That's the entire like DPS tier list. If I'm not too lazy, I will put stamps on every character so you can like see when I talk about them. But like Clara, I sort of had like the same like discussion as what you call it, Mr. Trailblazer over here. So I don't know. We'll see though. Anyway, I hope no one disagrees with me. If you do, let me know though. I'm curious to hear what you have to say. But yeah, that's gonna be it. Good job.